This is a homicide investigation.
A revelation from police and a renewed plea to the public.
Come in, talk to us, tell us what you know.
They're hoping someone finally comes forward to shed new light on the disappearance of John Semple, Ralph Grant, John Crofts, and Joan Lawrence, affectionately known as the Cat Lady.
She just looked really lonely.
Linda Charbonneau worked at a grocery store where Lawrence went for the free coffee a few times a week for 2 years.
I was hoping that they would say that, maybe someone came and confessed.
But there was nothing like that.
All four had one thing in common: where they lived.
The three men lived in this house near Huntsville, one of several properties owned by members of the Land family. They rented out rooms to seniors, advertising meals, activities, and care. But the police investigation revealed some seniors were getting Kraft dinner 3 times a day, and the living conditions weren't what the brochures advertised. Lawrence paid $600 a month for this shed. No plumbing, no electricity, no insulation. Her final days were spent in this van parked nearby. Police now say she died somewhere on the property.
The former owners of these properties have never cooperated with police.
12 others died under their care, and while police didn't find those deaths to be suspicious, this was. The Lands continued cashing their checks after they died. Some family members were convicted of fraud. Charges against David Land were withdrawn. Even though David and his uncle Ron Allen were named as suspects in Lawrence's murder in a police warrant, they were never charged because they never found her remains.
Somebody holds the key, and somebody just needs to come forward and let's put these seniors to rest.
Charbonneau says a resolution would help her and the tight-knit community move on all these years later. Lisa Shing, CBC News, Huntsville, Ontario.
Now, I want to turn to a journalist who has spent years sifting through every last detail of this case and whose dogged investigation, by the way, was almost certainly a factor in prompting police to finally speak out today. Xander Sherman led the top-rated podcast, The Cat Lady Case, part of the Uncover series from CBC Podcasts, and he joins us now from Halifax. So, Xander, you know the ins and outs of this case better than almost anyone. What did you make of today's news conference?
Well, this is the first time that the OPP has given a news conference about the case. It's the first time that lead investigator Rob Matthews has spoken about the case. So I was very curious to see it, like a lot of people. I think that the OPP, by releasing photos, which was one of the big takeaways of the press conference, we see finally the conditions that Joan Lawrence, the cat lady, was living in. I think they're hoping to spark a reaction from people because we can see from the photos that she was living in deplorable conditions.
Does any of what you heard today give you a different sense of how close police might be to actually solving the case?
I don't think we really got a sense of that today. They say that the case has never been closed, that it's never been cold, that they've always been working on it. The extent to which that is true, remains to be seen, but I think they're clearly hoping that someone will now come forward with what they say is the final piece of the puzzle. What that is, we don't know, but I think they're hoping that this could be a turning point for the case.
But the circumstances of this case, 2 decades old, is this case solvable in your mind?
In my mind, it is solvable. They've never found the bodies of the 4 seniors who went missing, so that would be an amazing discovery if that happens. I'm sure police have many resources available to them in their investigation that could also lead to a successful outcome.
Okay. Xander Sherman, thanks for lending us your insights. I'm sure there's more to come and more to talk about.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.